Well, you know this, life does not come without storms. And I'm so thankful for the people we have here every day who face diverse hardships and then are willing to share the encouragement that God has brought in the midst. My guest is a treasure, and she happens to be right on time for Heart and Stroke Month, but I'm going to make you wait a minute for the story. Marcy Maxwell, welcome. You have come to us today from?
From London, Ontario.
The snow belt.
It's not bad.
Not too bad today. I want people to see the foundation of your life before the storm hit. And I see it both in strong marriages and strong faith for generations.
For generations. We both came from families with, I don't know how I worded it, but strong.
Oh, I'll tell you what you said, because I've never heard this before. Pair-bonded ancestors.
Strongly pair-bonded ancestors. Our great-grandparents, our grandparents, our parents, my parents were married for 63 years, and Jeff's parents have been married for 55. My parents are 10 years older, so I'm convinced Jeff's family will last 63 years or beyond as well.
And you and Jeff have been married?
And we've been married for 31 years.
And you have 3 children?
We have 3 boys. Yeah.
Okay, the storm. First assault, Jeff, handsome, fit,
Good
virile man, age 40, heart attack.
Heart attack.
Any warning?
No warning, no family history, just a fluke, they decided. A small vessel at the bottom, least amount of damage, farthest away from the vessels. So witnessed at the hospital emergency department under doctor's care, got the last bed in the cardiac department. The students had been residents, doctors had been working for 36 or 48 hours or something, so the chief cardiologist gave them the time off, so he was under the care of the chief cardiologist. So God's hand throughout that entire process. Back to work in 3 months.
Back to work in 3 months. Automotive parts and supply. No residual, like no lasting damage, no major scarring.
No.
You just came through that. But then 2006 at the age of 45, middle of the night.
Middle of the night, got up to go to the bathroom, came back to bed. I was sound asleep, and this rattling aspirin bottle sound got my attention. It turns out that he had had a stroke. He had a massive headache, like being hit in the head with a baseball bat, he describes it. And that was the beginning of a stroke, so.
The good news is you're a former nurse, and you immediately knew what was going on.
Well, almost immediately. I thought that maybe he had an infection in his tooth or a problem with his tooth. His speech was a little garbled, but then when he explained to me that he had this headache and the speech was garbled, then I called 911 and the prayer team.
Now, fascinating, and the prayer team, did you hear that? Middle of the night. Fascinating that there was a hospital that specializes in strokes. You were not allowed to go there, but your ambulance driver went anyway.
He was denied 3 times because at that time the departments were rotating to close so that they could clear out the patients and then they would open up again. The public didn't ever know which ones were open, which ones weren't. The ambulance attendant was tried to be sent to the other hospital that was open, but you are never supposed to be turned away from the stroke unit if you're a stroke patient, and because he was a seasoned attendant, he knew that and he took him anyway.
He disobeyed.
He disobeyed.
And it saved your husband's life.
It did.
Blood clot affected the speech center. Cognitive abilities okay. Noise filter ruined. Had to sort out sounds again and learn a lot of things.
He had to relearn everything. Paralyzed from the right side of his body, head to toe. Not when he left. He walked out of the house into the back of the ambulance. When he woke up from the procedure, where they get a corkscrew Mercy retriever and they pull the clot out and use TPN, the clot busting drug. After that procedure was done, the residual effect was he was paralyzed from head to toe on the right side of his body, could not speak or utter a single sound. They thought that maybe he would be blind or his vision would be distorted. He could be deaf. He had no reflex in his right eye. And so they were just waiting to see how much recovery he would get. They didn't know if he would walk again.
How terrifying.
Yeah.
For all of you. Yeah. Boys in high school about that time.
Just starting university, yeah.
Your book, Keeping the Crocodiles at Bay? Okay, what does this have to do with the journey?
Well, it's a metaphor. When I was a little girl, I shared a bedroom with my younger sister, and at night we thought there were crocodiles living under our bed, and we were afraid to get up. Now, adults know there was no crocodiles under the bed, but as a child, those crocodiles were real to me. So the metaphor just fit perfectly. It doesn't matter if it's a real threat or an imagined threat. It's real to the person. It could be like depression. We all know that depression has actual physical effects, but you can't actually see it. It's not tangible. So it's the same thing. It covers everything. Any kind of crocodile, any adversity that prevents you from moving forward and making progress to your goal.
And your dear husband, he needed, you call it sacred space to heal and recover. And keeping those crocodiles at bay meant looking for God. In the midst of physical challenges, spiritual assault, the discourager at work. And I just, you know, maybe some of the men think this is a little fluffy, but I'm telling you, if you look for God, you find him. And this is a couple who made a choice to look for the treasures of darkness. You talk about the year of feathers. Now, this is just a formation of snow on the back of the car. Doesn't that look like angel wings? I have never in my life seen an albino cardinal. Can you see the female there? I get these guys in my backyard, but the female isn't albino. Pretty special. That was the year of feathers. And then you talk about the year of hearts. You even have a picture of a heart imprint on your husband's cheek. I don't know how that got there. This is just the reflection of a sun catcher in the shape of a heart. Okay, maybe this is a little ordinary and domestic, but is that squash? See the hearts? These are the little things. God's word was profound in this time. The support of praying people.
Yes, the prayer, we had everybody praying for us. We had the church family praying for us, friends, neighbors, ourselves. The night that I phoned the ambulance, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, you kind of decide, should I wake somebody up? But it was our prayer partners, and I knew that they wouldn't mind, so I gave them a call, and you knew right from that moment that as things unfolded that you were being covered by prayer and that God's hand was on you. And you have a prayer line 24 hours, and don't be afraid to use it. I mean, that's what it's there for, and you can feel the difference when you're covered with prayer. And
Marcy, this isn't a fairy tale. You are living with permanent change and loss. Tell us about your life today.
Well, it's pretty good, actually. We went from crisis to a chronic illness. It's not really an illness, but it's a journey now. And you don't look back, you look forward. You need hope. Hope is like oxygen or water when you're in the desert. If you don't have hope, I just don't know how you would go forward. Jeff has been creative in ways to give his body physiotherapy and speech therapy. He took up fly fishing for that action of throwing the fly above the water, was for his big motor skills. And then he learned how to tie flies, and he started with a very large hook and worked his way down to a very tiny one. And so they're very artistic.
That top one is pretty tiny.
It's pretty tiny.
I can't imagine navigating around something that minuscule.
I can't thread a needle, and the thread that they use, the line that they use is thinner than the dimensions of a human hair. So it's good physiotherapy, it's good for his fine motor skills. And when he gets to go out on the river and use the flies, it's just, being in nature is just a balm.
And you want to know how effective those little flies are. This is a rainbow trout. Take a look at his snout, and you will see Jeff's handiwork worked. Did you get to eat that one?
Oh, catch and release.
Okay.
Nope.
It's probably the rule, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, come on. We have to see this handsome man. I promised I wouldn't make him talk, but I just couldn't leave him in the green room. I just want folks at home to see your love for one another and the joy that radiates from you in what is still a very challenging journey. I'm going to have Marcy explain, Jeff, what you were talking about in the green room. Maybe your biggest annoyance affects your feet right now. Marcy, Nurse Marcy?
Nurse Marcy.
What is that?
Residual damage from the stroke was to his muscles, and in his right foot he has dystonia. And so basically your brain signal is telling your toes to curl under like a Charlie horse, so it's pretty much a chronic Charlie horse. It happens when he thinks, when he tries to speak, when he's trying to concentrate to block out sounds or to drive, whatever his activity is. If it takes any form of concentration, his toes just tighten up. It also goes on 24 hours a day, so it wakes him up in the night from his sleep.
Of course.
But, you know, he's not dead. He can talk, he can walk, he can speak, he can fly fish. So if you put it in perspective, it's inconvenient and uncomfortable, but we can live with that.
You are overcomers. It's just a joy to see you. And to quote you, God has provided for all our needs every step of the way. That's quite a testimony.
It is. You know, when you get to that point in life where you realize, I might not have a husband, I can't provide for my children, I have no income, my parents are aging, who can I rely on? Where is my source of help? It just, everything that you've known in your Christian life about depending on God is just crystallized. It's like, yes, you are everything. You are the source of life. You give me breath. You provide for my needs. And you get to that point of surrender where I can't do this on my own. I can try, but I've come to the point where this is bigger than any of us, but it's not too big for you. So I count on you for everything.
When you read the book, you'll discover that Marcy surrendered Jeff in the middle of the night when everything was unknown. And you have both continued to look to him and found he is all you need. This may be the book that you need right now to encourage you. Maybe you're dealing with a loved one who has been assaulted in the health department, and it's a struggle. You will be encouraged. And as Marcy has said, take advantage of that prayer line. It is available around the clock every single day of the year. Prayer makes a difference. And Keeping the Crocodiles at Bay by Marcy Maxwell is at our e-store.